Hi, I'm Janine, and welcome to my journey. We have a story time today. When I'm out partying or day party, brunches, meeting new people, I get asked the question, if you don't mind me asking, what happened to your arm? Naturally, people are curious. It is a fairly large scar. And so what happened to my arm? I'm laughing now, but I was not laughing December 19th, 2021. I can laugh.
I'm so kind of happy, but
Can kind of laugh now, almost 4 years later, but I was not laughing then. So what happened to my arm? I broke my arm the day after I moved to Houston, Texas, December 19th, 2021. Here's how the build up, the warm up. My ex-wife and her brother flew to Maryland to come get me. I'm going to call my ex-wife R. I don't want to say her name. I'm going to call my ex-wife R. I'm going to call my ex-brother-in-law, my son's uncle, R2. So ex-wife is R. Ex-brother-in-law is R2. So I was living in Maryland at the time. That's where my dad, his wife, aunt, uncle, cousins, they live in Maryland. So R and we were already married at this point. She was already living in Houston. She's born and raised here. Naturally, like when you're in a long distance relationship, it has an expiration date of the long distance part. So we decided I would move here December 2021. So December 16th, 2021, R and R2 flew to Maryland to come get me. We were going to drive my car all the way to Texas. They landed December 16th. That evening, my aunt and uncle picked them up from the airport. My aunt and uncle took R and R2 to the storage unit where I was. The movers had pulled up to the storage unit to get my stuff. I was, at the time, living with my dad. And all my stuff, like I had a house full of furniture before I moved to Maryland. So all my stuff was in storage. So my aunt and uncle picked up R and R2. And then brought them to the storage where I was. Movers were packing my stuff up in the truck. It was a long distance move, of course. We had a balance of about $2,000 because we had paid a deposit. If you ever done a long distance move, you know you have to pay some up front and then pay the rest when they pick up your stuff. So pay the deposit. They packed up my stuff. Although I was living with my dad at the time, we had gotten to a big fight. I want to say at the end of November 2021. So I moved into an Airbnb. So I was staying at an Airbnb in DC as like, you can get an Airbnb long-term rental. So I'm in an Airbnb. So the movers pack up all of our stuff. R2 and I go back to the Airbnb. We have a long drive the next day. So we get full, like we have to sleep. And it's ironic because I remember that day, like I was sick. I had got sick, like throwing up, nauseous. When R and R2 had landed, it came out of nowhere, and I don't get sick like that. And I'm sure that was God's way of telling me like something's about to happen because I got so sick. I remember I had to stop at the store on the way to the storage and get ginger ale and applesauce because I was so nauseous and throwing up. So we get back to the Airbnb, shower, go to sleep. Next day, December 17th, 2021, we get on the road real early in the morning. Like it was probably 6 a.m. in the morning. We got on the road. Start our drive to Houston, Texas from Washington, D.C. It was a 19-hour drive. R2 drove the entire time. We offered, like, we'll drive when we were stopping to get gas or food. We said, we'll take over. He said, no, I got it. I'm in the mood to drive. Once I'm done driving, I'm done. So while I have it in me, I'm just going to drive. So he drove the entire way. We passed through, like, Virginia, of course, barely Georgia, Alabama, Louisiana, get to Texas. We get to Houston December 18th, 2021. So at this point, it's like early in the morning, like real early in the morning. So we all just go to sleep. We crash. We stay at R and R2's mom's. We just go to sleep. Get up, shower, moving around like later that day. R2 asked if we want to go mudding. Now, mind you, I had never even heard of it. He's saying it's basically like ATV and big muddy field. You go out there, you just ride around. I didn't want to go. Straight up. I didn't want to go. We were supposed to move into our apartment that day, sign our lease. But being as R comes from a big, like a very close-knit family dynamic, and I didn't want to impede on that. I didn't want to come in and be like, oh, this is a wife and now R can't do fun stuff. I didn't want to do that. So I said yes. And this was my first hard lesson of when you want to say no, straight up, just say no. They could have gone by themselves and I could have stayed behind with the apartment. But I didn't want to stop the fun. So I said, let's go. This is exactly the moment where I fucked up. And for a long time, I replayed that in my head. Like, why couldn't I just have said, no, I don't want to go. No, I don't want to go. But I went and we were having a good time. We were mudding. R2 had brought his girlfriend. So we were out there for a few hours. We're having a good time. We're about to leave. R2 and his girlfriend do a donut, and R is like, okay, it's our turn. Let's go do a donut. So she's driving, doing donuts. The tire hit a dry patch. Because when it's mudding, it's supposed to be slippery ground, mud. R hits a dry patch. I had my arm up. I'll put the video in. I had my arm up like that. The side-by-side flips to the side. Done. That's it. Like, R gets ejected. She loses consciousness. I'm laying on my right side. Of course, that's my scars on my right side. So I'm laying on my right side. And I just remember I could not feel my arm. I could do this. Like, I could move my hand and I could move my fingers, but I could not feel my arm. It felt like jello. And I said, yeah. Mind you, I've never broken a bone before, but I knew something was really wrong. R2 and his girlfriend call 911. Ambulance comes. R has like high blood pressure and there's some oxygen issues, so she had to get life flighted to the hospital. If you in Houston, she got life flighted to Memorial Hermann in the medical center. So like a trauma hospital. They like, oh, we'll just take you to a local hospital. R and R2's mom had to beg the paramedics, like, please take her to the same hospital. She literally just got here. She don't have no family or friends. We want them in the same hospital. Get to the hospital, Memorial Hermann. They x-ray me. A doctor's like, I gotta check your spine. I had to flip over. My arm is broke, snapped in half. At the time, I didn't know it, but I would just remember it hurt so bad to move my arm. The paramedics at the crash site tried to give me like some pain meds, but it was so cold. My veins were so small, so just straight up raw dogging. Straight up raw dogging. So I felt everything. Of course, when you get to the hospital, they like, where's the insurance card? Are you not about to not give us no insurance? Or how we billing you? So give them my insurance card. Or somebody gives them my insurance card. Get checked in. They do the x-ray. They have to pull my arm out. I'm screaming because it hurts so bad. Showed me the x-ray. I'm going to insert clips of my x-ray that day in my arm. My shit snapped in half. Like a twig. Snapped in half. Like, again, at this time, I'm 31 years old. I have never broken a bone in my life. I said, are you serious right now? And mind you, I'm right-handed. I was working at this company. I had just changed to a new project, working remotely. This is happening on like, what was it, Saturday, Sunday. I gotta start my second week because I had already done my first week. I gotta start my second week. How am I supposed to do work with a broke arm and I'm right-handed? So finally saw R. They wheel her in. Her face is super swollen. One of her eyes is like swollen shut. And I'm sure that's why she lost consciousness, because she hit her head real bad. That's why she had to get life flighted. So it put me in a sling. and they say you got to go see an orthopedic doctor. Go to see an orthopedic doctor. They say the same thing. Your arm is snapped. Houston Methodist orthopedic surgeon says, yeah, you can stay in a sling for the next 3 to 4 months and it might heal. But it might not heal properly. Or you can have the surgery next week. This is December 29th. By the time I got to see the doctor, there was so much mixed up. By the time I got to see the orthopedic surgeon, it's December 29th, 2021. So the surgeon says, yeah, you're going to have surgery. That's like the best, like the fastest way you can heal. Can't even wash my own ass. I had to sit in one of those chairs, put it in the shower. It's like a rubber chair. Put it in the shower. I had to have one of those long brushes to wash myself. Again, I'm right-handed, broke my right arm. So it just sucked. And I had to learn to do so much with my left hand. So surgery day comes January 7th, 2022. Surgery comes, gets to the hospital, they do the surgery. It's a quick surgery. It's about an hour because all they're doing is putting plates and screws in pressing my bones together, putting the plate on it, drilling the screws in my arm to make sure I'm stable. They gave me this. After my surgery, I still had this nerve blocker in my neck and like a pouch around my waist. And it helped with the pain, but I only had that for a week. And once they took that off, I said, oh, this is really where my healing journey begins. Had physical therapy for about 2 months, and that beat my ass so bad. But it worked out. Towards the end, I had a follow-up with my surgeon, and my arm was like stuck. From being in that sling for 3 weeks, my arm was like stuck. Like I couldn't straighten it all the way. So my surgeon's like, we're gonna have to give you a brace. And it has a dial on it and it will straighten your arm out all the way. And you have to keep it like that for about 20 minutes every day. And that'll help on top of the physical therapy. I'm back much better now. Again, that was almost 4 years ago. I built my strength back up. I can still tell though, my arm is still not 100%. And I mainly feel it when I do push-ups because I go to the gym. I'm a gym girly. I go to the gym. I try my best with me splitting custody with my son 50-50. I try to go at least 3 times a week. So I feel it the most when I'm doing push-ups. I can feel it. When I'm doing lateral raises, frontal raises, my strength is still not built back up doing those isolated movements. But bench pressing, I can bench press 27.5 pounds now, dumbbell. I can bench press a barbell plus 10 pounds. So my strength is definitely much, much better. And I'm hoping one day I can do lateral raises, front raises, 45-degree raises without, it's not a pain. It's not pain. It's discomfort. Like the push-ups, it's discomfort. It's not like a sharp, that hurts. It's just, I can feel it. I don't have no issues going through TSA. It's not metal. I don't have metal on my arm. It's titanium. So that's no issue. I remember when my son was younger and he was a baby, I would always, if I was rocking him to sleep or feeding him, I would always have to put his arm in my left elbow because in my right arm, I could feel it. It was super uncomfortable. So that's how I broke my arm. R was driving. We were doing donuts when we were mudding. I had my arm up. The side by side flipped over and my shit snapped in half. So that's my story. That's how I broke my arm. Prayerfully, no more broken bones. Not a good experience. 10 out of 10. Would not recommend. Of course, who wants to break a bone? But we here now, building my strength back up. I have this scar forever. I've thought about getting a tattoo over it. I've tried the scar gels. It's never consistent enough. It's just a part of my story. It's a part of my journey. It's a lesson learned on the importance of saying no when you don't want to do something. And I learned that lesson the hard way. So now I know a no is a no, is a no, is a no. Maybe I'll get a tattoo cover up. I've seen some ideas like maybe having a snake wrapped around it, but I'm not too sold on like a snake being tattooed on me. I do have a lot of tattoos, so maybe one day we'll see. It's still very sensitive, so I can't imagine that needle getting too close without me being uncomfortable. But we'll see. So that's my story. Thank you for coming by, and I'll see you next time. Bye.